Hi everyone, Pierrick from P2 Design here. In this video we will create our leg rig, our end rig, and we will organize properly our rig for animation. Let's get started. We don't need to disable the rotation on the leg because we will use an inverse kinematic mechanism that will override this dependency. Back into edit mode, I will select the head of the target foot bone and I will extrude back another bone that will be our control IK foot bone. This will currently be the bone that will allow us to control the whole leg. I will move it down so that it's aligned with the ground and then I will parent the target foot to this newly created bone. Then I will use the target foot bone to constrain the target shin bone. So I will select the target foot bone, then the target shin bone, and I will press Ctrl Shift C and add an inverse kinematic constraint. It's getting a bit funky because we need to set the length of the inverse kinematic chain. So we will set it to 2 bones so that the constraint will influence the shin bone and the thigh bone, both bones of the leg. Here, the behavior of the inverse kinematic is not very good also because our leg bones are disconnected. So I will get back into edit mode. I will snap the cursor to the head of the foot bone, then select the tail of the shin bone and snap it to the cursor. Repeat the same process with the knee. So now our chain is connected. The inverse kinematic will behave a little betterly, but we still have this switch in direction whenever we're trying to bend the knee. But we can easily fix this strange behavior with a pole target, something that will allow the knee to point at. First, I will go into the bone option of the shin and you will find an inverse kinematic tab. I will lock the Z and Y axis so that it will only rotate on its X axis. If you try to rotate your knee on any other axis than what is meant to be bent, it will be quite painful. Even if our character don't really have a knee, it will look better this way. To create the knee target, I will get back in edit mode and I will select the knee joint and I will extrude the bone backward. Then I will clear the parenting of this bone by pressing Alt P. Then we'll have to move this bone forward on the Y axis and we can parent it to the foot controller. This newly created bone will be the control pole target of the leg. By the way, whenever you are working on a side of the rig, don't forget to add the .L suffix to your bone so that they will symmetrize properly later on. To select the pole as a pole target, we will select our shin bone, check out the inverse kinematic constraint, and in the pole target, select the current armature and find our pole bone. You can see that now the shin is pointing outward and we need to fix it using the pole angle here. Set it to 90 degrees and it should fix the problem. Now our knee is bending properly and it's pointing toward the pole target. So whenever we are rotating the foot, since the pole target is parented to the foot, it will also rotate the knee on the global Z-axis. So now our rig is mostly done. We will just move those 2 bones into a new layer that we will call control and move all the control bone into this layer. Since I'm a lazy person, and since we will have to animate the fingers, I wish I could create one controller that will allow me to bend them all at once. The idea here is not to create a classical hand controller, but just something that will allow me to create follow-through animation in the fingers during the work cycle. To do so, I will duplicate the target finger B01, which is the middle finger, and scale it a bit. This is going to be our controller for the fingers. Don't forget to add the .L in the naming. The idea is to make all the finger following its rotation. So what I will do is that I will select it, then select another bone and add a copy rotation to it and switch it from local space to local space. This means that when this bone will rotate on its own X-axis, it will make all the other bones that has the constraint rotating on their own X-axis too. The downside is that by default I can't rotate the constraint bone anymore, but we can set the mix with offset instead of replace, and now I can both rotate the controller that will influence the bone and the bone itself. This will allow the animator to move all the bones at once or to tweak their position or control them individually. To duplicate the constraint on all the bone, I will select them and make the constraint bone active, then I will go to pose constraint, copy constraint to selected bones. From there, when I'm testing the rig, I can see all the fingers bending at once, but I can also see that my palm is deforming weirdly. So what we will do is revise the vertex group. Since I want this part of the mesh to be influenced only by the deformation bone of the end, in edit mode with the corresponding geometry selected, I will go into the vertex group tab, click the down arrow and click on remove from all group. Now this part of the mesh has absolutely no influence from the rig. So now I need to reassign it to the end bone group. So I will search for it, select the def end.l and assign. Now the hand mesh is no longer influenced by the finger deformation and the fingers are following our mechanism. Since the fingers are a bit clipping on the outside, we will select their first edge loop and we will assign them with full influence to the end bone. So I will select those loops, remove them from all vertex groups so that we don't have parasite influence, and then reassign them to the deformation end.l. Now the fingers deform properly and the end is no longer deformed. Now I can move this bone into the controller layer, then I will unhide everything, go into edit mode, select all the bones and right click and select symmetrize. Blender will automatically generate the symmetrized parts of the rig and it will keep all the different mechanisms we have built. So this is very handy and we have saved a lot of time. One limitation of the inverse kinematic I'd like to address is the foot to follow the position of the controller, meaning that we need the leg to stretch a bit. This is something we can do automatically by going into the bone option and the inverse kinematic tab. Set the IK stretch to a value beneath 0.1, like 0.01, for each bone of the leg. This will allow the leg to stretch a bit when overextended. The problem is that it will also scale the bones, so the leg will look a bit thicker. But this will avoid snappy movement or snappy deformation whenever we will overextend, so it's a great benefit. From there, we just need to organize a bit our rig to make it more readable. I've hidden the target layer. In the bone layer menu, I will enable the hide empty option so that we don't have all these useless layers. And now in the rig properties, we will be able to assign the different bones to bone groups and give them colors. So you can create as many bone groups as you want, select a color and assign the selected bone to this group. I will create a second group, set it to blue for example, and assign all the left arm bones. I will do the same for the right arm, the left leg and the right leg, and you can also name those groups, assign different color, do whatever you want to make it more readable. The final step to optimize the use of our rig is to lock any transform channel on the bones that are useless. For example, do I need to scale the foot or rotate them? Yes, probably. But do I need to do so with the control stretch? Certainly not. Since I want to keep this course as simple as possible, I won't be talking about quaternion rotation versus Euler rotation. But if you want more information about this, you can find all of this in my rigging course, The Art of Effective Rigging. Here I just want to make sure that it will be as easy as possible to animate this character and read the animation curve for beginners animator. So what we will do is select all the control bone, press Ctrl R and select XYZ Euler rotation. I will repeat here for the arm, Ctrl R, XYZ Euler rotation. Euler rotation has its limitation, but it's the most obvious to read. Now we will lock the useless channel on the different bones. So for example, here I don't want to be able to scale the arm, so I will select all the arm bone, lock the scale channel. I will right click and select copy all to selected. This will lock the scale on all the selected bones. I will repeat the process on the location because I don't want to move them. We will be only rotating those bones. And we will do the same with all the bone of our character. So for example, the control stretch, we just need to move it. So we will lock the rotation and the scale. Do the same for the pole target, you only need to move their location. And for the feet, we will allow every single channel to be edited. And here you go, you have rigged your character. So this is the end of this video. In the next one, we will be animating it. In the meantime, please like this video, subscribe and share it. See you!